talking Yale, Harvard, Princeton, MIT, Stanford, Amherst, Wesleyen, Wellesley, Swarthmore, Haverford, whatever it is, you're probably like, how the heck am I supposed to apply to college? Don't worry, I got you. We had so much happening in 2022. First, we were told that because of test optional admissions, the SAT and ACT didn't really matter. Then we heard from MIT that it definitely did, and they didn't know how to admit students without considering those two metrics. Then we saw the data from all the highly selective schools that showed that if you submit SAT scores, you're up to 2.3 times more likely to get accepted. Kind of crazy. Then we read the Hechinger report, which said that many colleges have no idea how to accept students without test scores. Then we heard from Michael Bloomberg, who said, if we want to be competitive in a global marketplace and other countries are outpacing us like crazy, yes, we definitely need these metrics of the SAT and ACT to help us benchmark where our students are so we can figure out where we need to be. So I can totally imagine that right now your head is spinning with all of these new developments, all of these changes. So I'm going to talk today about how to apply to college if you're a senior and you're trying to get those applications in, or if you're a junior and you're starting to think about college application entire process. Before I start, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to turn on notifications. Okay, so here are the big 6 things that I would suggest you do. Number 1, write a great essay. And remember that the key to a great essay is there should be a before, a thing that changed, and the after effects of that change. So basically, the meat of your essay should be the way that you have changed. And the before tells us what you were before, and the after is clear, right? The way that that thing changed you. So great essay is number 1. Number 2, submit your SAT scores. The number of things I have read that talk about SAT scores and how colleges don't know how to make intelligent judgments without them, and how sometimes they just don't know, and so they bring in a third person and they're like, say yes or no. Let's make that a hard yes on your part by submitting the SAT scores, especially since we know that you're up to 2.3 times as likely to get in if you submit SAT scores as if you don't. So why not? If you are looking for a way to do better on the SATs and your college deadlines are rolling or you have a couple later ones, the next SAT test that you can take will be March 2023. So I'll be taking the March 2023 SAT. Maybe I'll see you there. Number 3, get bulleted recommendations from people who know you. You've probably heard me talk about bulleted recommendations. If not, this was a thing they talked about at NACAC a couple of years ago, that you can, instead of writing prose, instead of writing like text recommendations, like I recommend this student because yada, 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 they are now accepting recommendations that say, I recommend this student because, and like a list of bullets. So if you're thinking about it from the perspective of the person writing the recommendation, it's a heck of a lot easier to generate a list of bullets than to write a well-written letter. And they reached out to, I think, 20 selective colleges and said, how do you feel about bulleted recommendations? And 19 of those 20 said, I like them as much or more than a traditional recommendation letter. So why do I advocate so hard for bulleted recommendations? You are much likely to get your recommendation early to on time, and you'll have a better recommendation if the person writing it doesn't see it as a tremendous chore. So if you take some of that off that person's back, that person will write you a better recommendation and it'll come faster. Here's another tip. Give that person a brag sheet. And so many of you probably have been given a brag sheet by your counselor. It's a list of all of the good things that you do that the person can talk about in their recommendation letter. Here's a tip to make it a little bit better. What I actually ask people to do is write down in bulleted form the specific points they want me to hit with like the backup evidence. So now think about this. Not only are you getting a recommendation letter, but you are able to control the content of that recommendation letter. So that means that if there's like an academic gap that you're trying to make an explanation about, like let's say you didn't do well in math sophomore year, but you've done well in math junior and senior year, that's an opportunity for you to get that person, the recommender, to explain that gap away. So this is an incredibly useful moment for you to parlay into being able to control the narrative in your recommendation letter. Now, number 4, if financial aid is a factor for you, and it is for most families, let's be real, you should do the net price calculator for the schools that you're interested in and the FAFSA forecaster. FAFSA forecaster will tell you how much money you're likely to get from the federal government, and the net price calculator will tell you how much money you're likely to get from any school you're interested in applying to. Remember, the net price calculator generally comes in a low, medium, and high. If I were you, I would be the most conservative and look at the thing that means you spend the most and plan for that eventuality. Because best scenario is you look at the one where you have to spend the most and they end up giving you more money, and then you're like, amazing, I don't even have to worry about this problem. So make sure that you're looking at how much the schools will actually cost. Also, assume that you will accept the loans from the federal government, the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which total $5,500. The magic number that I've heard most frequently, but different people will say different numbers, is $30,000. So if you can keep your debt under $30,000 in 4 years, you will probably be able to pay back that debt and not be crippled by it as an adult. When you get over the $30,000 mark, that's when it starts getting like a little crazy to pay all of that back. We also have a spreadsheet that allows you to do apples to apples financial comparisons between all of the places that you got accepted to. I'll put the link in the description so that you can go to that. It's a free resource. Enjoy. And I use this with my own students when they're looking at different college options and trying to compare them. It allows you to put all of the things next to each other that you need to compare that are the metrics for a good decision. Okay, 5. Do all extra supplements. So you'll have supplemental essays all over the application for lots of different schools, and they'll say optional. Guess what? If you want to get in, they're not optional. You have to do them. As a person applying to college, you're like a number, and they don't know anything about you except the things that you tell them. So they know a GPA, they know an SAT score, they've read your personal statement, they've read your letter of recommendation, they've looked at your list of extracurriculars, right? But in terms of you jumping off the page as a three-dimensional person, the best way for you to do that and fill in a little bit more of who you are and what you believe and what your story has been is to do all of those extra supplements. Think of them as opportunities to tell them more about you. And every time you tell them more, you become more multidimensional, more multifaceted. And so the more they know about you, the more you become a real person, the harder it is for them to say, nah, I don't want to accept this person. And the easier it is for them to say, you know, I really liked his story. I liked the way he talked about it. I liked his grit. I liked his tenacity. Let's let that kid in. Let's take that kid. So remember, supplements are in your favor. The last one, and this is probably the one that most people don't think about, identify what factors will distinguish you at the place that you're applying to, right? All colleges are different. Some colleges will have interviews. Some of them will be online, some of them will be in person, some of them will be with an admissions officer, some of them will be an alum. Whatever it is, do everything that they give you the option to do. You might have something like a prospective students weekend. Go. They are paying attention to that. Can you reach out to a professor in a major that's interesting to you, or maybe just a professor who's doing research on something that you feel interested in? If you can exchange a couple emails with that professor and then let the admissions office know, either by having the professor tell them directly, or you can tell them, I've been exchanging emails with this professor and we talked about XYZ and I'm very excited about it. All of those things say to the admissions department, this kid really wants to go to this school and this kid is interested. And interest, that is the way that you could distinguish yourself the most. Other places that you might connect, an on-campus club, maybe an affinity group. You can also call the admissions office and ask for a status update on your application. You can ask to speak to the rep who handles your location. So call the admissions office, and you can also look on their website and see which admissions rep handles your location. Call that person and ask them if there's anything else you can send them to make your application more compelling. They'll probably tell you, because very few people actually do that. Especially now when we're living in an age where nobody wants to pick up the phone. Their phones probably ring a heck of a lot less than they did 20 years ago, and they are significantly more interested in engaging with anybody who had the chutzpah to pick up the phone and make that call. We also know that the application process is pretty random this year, right? We've read in the Hechinger report what happens when colleges don't have SAT information and they don't know how to make that decision. So this year, of all years, your best bet is to send them absolutely anything you can think of. Are you a musician? Send them a recording. Are you an artist? Send them something that you made or designed. Whatever the thing is that you're interested in, whatever your hobby is, you don't have to be amazing at it. None of those things matter. You just have to be interesting to them. You have to do something to distinguish yourself from all the other people who are applying. That is the name of the game here. That is your best bet. Just find a way to make yourself different. And so that kind of dovetails with number 5, which was do all extra supplemental essays, because as much information as you can give them, that's the thing that makes you multifaceted, and that's the thing that's going to make them accept you. Thank you for watching. I'm Alyssa the College Expert, coming to you from Socratic Summer Academy and the Yleana Leadership Foundation. For more information about how Yleana is decreasing the racial wealth gap and multiplying the college graduation rate by a factor of 8, go to Yleana.org. And for more college tips, check out Socratic Summer Academy's blog at socraticsummeracademy.com/blog. See you soon.